Hello, Team Easy Dating. What's going on? I am so pumped up. Welcome to, I believe this is my third ever live stream, and I've got an amazing co-host. So I'm so pumped. Before we get into any of this, if you are not subscribed to my channel, get down there and subscribe. But anyway, everyone say a big welcome to Helena Hart. Helena, say hi to everybody.
Hey everyone, I'm just checking to make sure. It's so funny. I'm so used to doing these on my channel that I'm checking to make sure that everything's going. It's so nice to be on the other side of it. So I'm thrilled to be here. Hello to everyone. I'm so excited to jump into this topic today.
Yes. Helena, we are pumped you are here. And what are we talking about? The number one secret to bring a man closer, even if he's pulled away. Man, that is a great topic. Helena, what is the secret? Talk to me.
Yeah, this is actually probably one of the number one reasons that women come to me. They come to my YouTube channel or come looking for coaching or advice with their situation, is that it's a really common thing. A man might be coming on strong and pursuing her really intensely at the beginning, and then right when things start to get serious, or right when maybe she starts developing feelings for him, often that's when there's this like shift in the dynamic, and he just maybe starts acting a little distant, starts contacting her less and less, and the woman starts to get anxious. And what that does and we've all been there, right? Myself included, where it kind of stirs something up in us, and it causes us to want to lean forward, jump into our masculine energy, and try to do whatever we can to reconnect things. So first thing I have a woman do if she's in this situation is don't panic, right? Lean back into her feminine energy, really anchor herself right where she is to create that space for a man to come back towards her. And there's a lot that goes into that, but that's kind of the basic overview.
All right, so just to make sure I'm hearing you right, the key is a woman needs to anchor herself when a man maybe is disappearing a little bit, and she just needs to stay in her feminine side and just relax and let him come back. Is that right?
Yeah, that's the first step. Of course, then it's all about what she does when he does come back towards her, right? If she's angry and upset and accusing him or interrogating him, he's not going to feel compelled to keep coming towards her. So of course, every situation is different. And if you guys are watching live, type your situation and we can work with you and answer your questions. But yeah, it's really about, creating that space and being open and receptive to him at the same time. I call it a space and softness combination. It's kind of the opposite of what most of us feel compelled to do in these moments. We often want to lean forward and make something happen, like get back in touch with him or reconnect the relationship, and we shut ourselves down emotionally. So with space and softness, it's kind of the opposite of what we feel compelled to do a lot of times in these situations.
Okay. All right, so Helena, let's role play a little bit. Is that all right?
Yeah, definitely.
All right, me and you are dating, right? We're on date number 5. And all of a sudden, I just stopped texting, calling you. And you, since you're a master of this, go into your feminine side and you're totally relaxing. And then all of a sudden, after a week of not hearing from me, I come back. Now, what is the appropriate thing for you to do in this instance?
Okay, great question. Great. Like I said, every situation is different. So it's all about what the woman does while that man is off taking some space, getting distracted, doing whatever he's doing, right? So if that whole time I was obsessing up in my head, checking the text messages, right, replaying our last conversation of what might have gone wrong or what I could have said differently, when you come back towards me, you're going to be able to feel that, right? Even if I don't say anything, there's this energy of what took you so long to get back to me, right? Whereas if I were to, when you were not contacting me, when you were off doing your thing, if I were just focusing on what's right in front of me, right? Whatever it is, going out, having fun with my friends, maybe possibly going on other dates. If, the woman isn't exclusive with the man, then when he shows up again, it's kind of like a nice surprise. It's kind of like, oh, and then of course, if if you've been dating for a while, if you have to have a conversation about it, like, you know, if you guys are exclusive and a man disappears for a week, obviously there's probably something to talk about there, right? But in these situations where it's like the early stages of dating, if you can train yourself to just focus on what's right in front of you and get out of this obsessing or overthinking things with a man who is not coming towards you right now, then you're just naturally, like, the right words will come to you. Does that make sense? I mean, I hope I'm explaining that correctly.
So like what you're saying is basically don't make a big stink of it and let him kind of be in his masculine side and say, hey, I haven't been showing up for the last week. Here's why. But what if he just doesn't bring it up? Do you just like let it go, or what's the proper process?
A great question. Yeah, one of the number one questions that I get, Mike, is like, well, he's hot and cold, he disappeared. Do I say something? Do I pretend like I didn't? I am really all about direct, straightforward communication. But it's all about where you're coming from. That's why I like to explain everything I did first, right? If you're coming from a place of anxiety or insecurity or lack, right? It doesn't really matter what you say in that moment. It's gonna come across as needy or demanding, right? But if you're coming from a place of curiosity, absolutely, it's fine to say, hey, you know, I felt a little worried when I didn't hear from you, or when I was expecting a phone call and I didn't get one. You know, I felt a little anxious, or felt a little confused. Is there something I should know? Or something like that. Of course, every situation is different. But yeah, of course, you can say something, but it's all about where you're coming from. If you're giving him the benefit of the doubt, coming from a place of just true curiosity, rather than interrogating or feeling insecure and acting out of that anxiety, a man can feel the difference, right? I mean, can you feel the difference as a man?
Oh, absolutely. There's a huge difference. Like as a man, we've all been there, or we've dated a woman where it's like, where were you? What were you doing? And it's like, I was just busy at work. I'm sorry. But then if someone's like, so like, you know, we haven't talked in a week, like, where have you been? I'd be like, oh, you know, I just had a lot of meetings and stuff, and it'd be fine, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Like, what is going to compel this man to keep coming towards you, if that's what you want, right? Now, of course, if a man is extremely hot and cold, if he has a habit of disappearing and you can't get a hold of him, well, I certainly wouldn't want anyone to date a man like this. Like, what do you want with that guy, right? But, you know, in these normal situations where men are single focused, right, they get distracted sometimes and they're not tracking the connection as closely as we women can. I really found, right? Like, we women can go, okay, well, you know, I haven't heard from him all day. Where for a man, he can just get busy with something, and it doesn't mean that he doesn't care about you, right? They're just a little more single focused. So as much as you can kind of give him the benefit of the doubt, if he's a good guy and generally his energy is coming towards you, you're going to get a much better response from him, rather than immediately, you know, going to those places of like, oh, maybe he's with another woman, maybe he doesn't like me anymore. It's all about where you're coming from. When you're coming from the right place, you can really say anything, because it's your energy and your vibe that a man is picking up on, much more than the words themselves. I've certainly found. I mean, Mike, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think you're spot on. We can definitely, like, although men are not so great at the social skills, we can pick up on that. So you're so right. So guys, we're live. So if you want to go down there and write some questions, we're going to answer. And we actually have one right now. And Helena, I would love your take on this. This is like right up your alley. So this person asks how to be feminine on dates. And you are like the queen of feminine energy. So how can a woman be like feminine on a date?
That is such a great question. I was reading the questions here myself. I'm so used to reading them myself. I think that's a phenomenal question. Perfect for this topic. Yeah, you can think of feminine energy as leaning back, right? Leaning back physically, mentally, verbally, even emotionally, just leaning back, creating that space for a man to come towards you. So for everyone watching, next time you're on a date or just with your man, try physically leaning back, physically leaning away from him while keeping your heart and your energy open to him at the same time. If he is a masculine energy man and he's truly interested in you and attractive, he will instinctively start to move towards you. Even if he doesn't really realize it, he'll just feel this pull to come towards you. So that is like a physical demonstration of how this energy exchange works. Also verbally leaning back. I mean, how many times on dates as women, you know, we can tend to want to jump in there and fill all those awkward pauses in conversation. Mike, have you experienced that before?
Oh God, that is the absolute worst. Like sometimes I actually got asked like what my favorite color is just so that she could fill up space. And I'm like, really? Like, how does this matter of whether we're a match or like, I was just like, oh, I'm bored. Get me out of here.
Totally. And it comes from a great place, right? It comes from a place of just like wanting to keep the connection going and like wanting everyone to be comfortable. I'm totally like naturally that way. So I still have to remind myself with everybody, you know, men, women, everybody, just it's okay to have like a little silence. If you can be comfortable with the silence and kind of allow some things to like bubble up between the two of you, men like that he's gonna feel more connected to you in that moment. So that's verbally leaning back. Also, you know, just mentally and emotionally, meaning not obsessing about a man, not going up in your head wondering if he likes you, wondering what the next best thing to say is. The more you can drop out of your head and into your body, that's getting out of your masculine energy and into your feminine energy, the more he's going to really feel attracted to you and connected on like a really deep level, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. So let's say you're with like a pretty introverted guy that's not really asking that many questions. Is it okay to ask questions then?
That's a great question. Actually, I've been getting so many questions about this, like in the comment sections on my YouTube channel. I keep saying like, well, what about a shy guy? What about an introvert? So I'm so glad you brought that up. Yeah, of course it's fine to ask questions, you know. You just don't want to jump into like interviewer mode or reporter mode, because that's jumping into your masculine energy where it's just like firing off one question after another, right? Even with shy guys, I would say it still applies. You want to just like lean back and don't constantly pick up the slack for him. And I promise he will say something, right? It might take him a minute to like get his bearings, especially if he's nervous, because men get nervous too, just like us, right? But he'll say something, I promise. And he'll actually open up more the more you allow that space for that to happen.
Yes. Helena, I want to talk to you about body language a little bit. I do like a whole 10-minute segment for my clients on this, but let's pretend like you go for a date at a bar and you're sitting on a bar stool and you're both facing the bar, right? So this is man, this is female facing the bar. Now you talk about leaning back. Now, can she like turn all the way so her knees are like facing him, or does it need to be like turned a little bit, or like both turn towards each other? Like, what should this look like when you're at a bar in terms of body language for the woman?
That's a great question. You know, I've never had anyone ask me that before. I did a video a long time ago on body language. I'd love to have you on sometime talking about this, because it sounds like you might know more about this than I do. But yeah, try leaning your upper body back. Like imagine leaning back, and just the important part is keeping your heart open. If you can imagine just like unzipping your heart and keeping your energy and your heart open to him. You know, if you're facing him, that's totally fine, but it's like that constant filling of the space that gets us into this like forward leaning masculine energy. So yeah, I think it's fine to be facing him, but try leaning your upper body back while keeping your energy open to him at the same time.
Ooh, I like that. And so I just want everyone to realize that what Helena is saying is absolute gold. Like as a man on a date, like a woman that's kind of like zooming in, leaning in, and like just like kind of on top of me, it's like, like that's kind of my job. Like she's taking my job. I want to kind of be like coming towards her, and I want to be the masculine. So this is so spot on. And like for the bar example, if a woman turns all the way here and I'm still facing here, so I'm like turning like that to talk to her, or turned a little bit, and she's like full on, like both her feet are on my bar, she's like up in my face, like I'll be freaked out and like, why is this woman that I just met in my personal space? And you know, obviously if the conversation's fine, like we can get past this, but these subtle things kind of like lead into everything. Like the conversation could be going well, and this could actually distract a man. Like, why is this woman like so in my space? Like we just met. And that's the same thing like with a man, that if on the first date he's almost like trying to kiss you, or is trying to touch you. It's just like, I don't feel comfortable for this yet. Would you agree with all that, Helena?
Totally. I mean, the image I got when you were saying that is if you're like in line at the grocery store or something and there's someone just like standing too close to you and you don't even know that. It's just like, okay, you know, you can feel that. And what does it do? It makes you want to back up and create some space between the two of you. And a lot of times with men, they can't put their finger on it, but it's that desire to come towards you just kind of diminishes a little bit. So just as much as you can, just lean back and just imagine his energy coming towards you. Even if it's not right now, just imagine his energy and attention and love kind of coming at you, and you're pulling him in. You're pulling the whole world towards you with this feminine magnetism rather than, you know, pushing, leaning forward, trying to make something happen constantly. And that works in any stage of the relationship.
Yes. Love that. All right, guys, if you're tuned in and you're not subscribed to my channel or Helena's, like go in the info and go click and go subscribe. And we've also got Helena's free gift down there that you can get your hands on. So definitely get on that. Also, if you're live, if you got questions for us, hop in there. And if you're not watching live, ask us some questions anyway, because we're going to be checking this thing and we're ready to answer. Helena, I want to shift gears. And you are the exact person I want to ask this question. So let's talk about texting. Let's pretend you and I are on date 3 and we haven't set up date 4 yet, and we're in between. Are you allowed to text the guy, or what can you do in terms of texting as the feminine person in this dating arrangement? And we like each other.
Okay, yeah, great question. Here's the thing I want to mention about texting, because again, such a great question. I get asked that all the time. What do I say? How do I text him back? Is it okay to initiate sometimes? If you are feeling super confident and you know a man's crazy about you, you know that, you know, you can do anything, really. If you know that a man's energy is coming towards you, he's really interested, he's not going anywhere, you can do whatever you want. You can initiate, you can call him up and say, hey, let's go to dinner tomorrow night. That's not going to push him away, right? As a man, if you're really into a girl and she leans forward and initiates sometimes, you'd be thrilled, right?
This is the best advice I've ever heard, because no one's actually ever said that. We're always talking about like, well, hide, be feminine, like let him attack you. And you're so right. And I've never even thought about this, because I actually give advice to hide, but you're actually onto something, because on average, men know if they're going to fall in love with this woman by date 2. So as long as you're past date 2-ish, the guy's already made up his mind. He's like, all right, she's hot and I like her personality. I'm moving forward. She's either in my relationship. She's in my relationship bucket. I did not put her in the hookup bucket. Mm-hmm. I like her. I want to move this thing forward. So yes, that's spot on, and keep talking.
Okay,
that's awesome.
Totally. Okay, I just wanted to mention that because, okay, that being said, most women who come to me and watch my videos on YouTube or, you know, read my newsletters and programs are not at that place, right? And if you're watching this video on how to bring a man closer, especially if he's pulled away, you are likely not at that place where you're like, he's into me, I know he's crazy about me, I can do anything, it's not going to push him away. So my work is to help you get to that place where you can really do whatever you want, and it's amazing. So, but yeah, if you're not at that place, it's always a good idea to just lean back into your feminine energy and see what this man does all on his own without any like prompting or pressure or like nudging on your end. And that gives you a lot of information about his interest level, where he's at. If we've been on, I think you said 3 dates and there's no plans for a 4th, I mean, if you're really interested in a girl, you're not going to jeopardize, you're not going to risk losing her by not getting back in touch as a man, right?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I always say if there's a 10,000-foot wall and I like a woman, I will knock it over. I will climb it. I will do whatever I have to do to get to that woman. And that's the same with introverts too. I always get asked that, like, what about introverts? Should I reach out to him? And I have the most introverted friend on the planet. And I said, hey, do you reach out to women? He's like, I love Bumble. They reach out to me. And then what about on second, third days? Like, yeah, I typically don't reach out to them. I'm like, what if you really like the woman? He's like, oh, if I really like her, then absolutely. Of course I reach out. So there you have it.
Exactly. Yeah. So my job is to help you get to that place where you're feeling so confident, you know, you could have any man you wanted, right? So then you could do anything you want. That's the great thing about this work. It's not a game and it's not a superficial strategy. It's a whole new way to live your life, right? Coming from your feminine energy, which is already like inside of you, just waiting to be uncovered. So if you're not sure about a guy, I always say, you know, when in doubt, lean back into your feminine energy, just watch what he does, like a little more dispassionately, to where you're not trying to like steer things in a certain direction. That being said, if you're not attached to the outcome, like if you are like, should I text a guy? One of the most common questions I get. I always say, if you, let's say you know, lean forward and text him, if you don't get the response you're hoping for, if you're going to be devastated and disappointed and heartbroken, I would say you're too attached to the outcome or the result of that interaction. So yeah, that's a big clue to just lean back and see what he does. But if you don't care, I always have women ask themselves, what am I hoping will happen? And if they can answer that really strongly, like, well, I'm hoping he'll ask me out for the weekend, and if he doesn't, I'll be really sad. Big clue that they're trying to make something happen. They have a strong agenda. Time to lean back into their feminine energy. But if the answer to that is, I don't know, I'm just bored and I'll just, you know, it's okay, of course, to like give him a little indicator of your interest and then lean back from there, as long as you're not strongly attached to that outcome, if that makes sense. I hope I'm not being confusing there.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. But talk to me about like what mindset should women be in the early stages of dating so that maybe they aren't so attached to what happens when they text someone?
Oh, that's such a great question. Yeah, I always, there's so much I have to say about that. A lot of women who come to me have this similar thing going on. I was certainly this way myself back before I figured all this out, of putting a man on a pedestal, right? It's like they really like a guy. They're not attracted to that many men. Then one guy comes along, they're super attracted to, they have these rare, strong feelings for him. And so they kind of put him on a pedestal. And then when we do that, we can't really help it. We tend to want to like go after him, even in very subtle ways, like trying to prove themselves to him or like win his love, win him over in some way. And so first thing to do is take that man off that pedestal, right? And just kind of see yourself as the prize, as the woman, not in like an egotistical way, but in just a really confident, feminine way. And I love your question about mindset, the mindset of just trusting and allowing two very feminine energy qualities, just trusting that the right man for you will want to pursue you and come after you all on his own without you trying to convince him or like pine after him. This pining energy is such a problem I see out there that I really want to turn around, because a lot of women are out there kind of pining for men who are not doing the job, who aren't really doing anything in terms of their masculine action towards her. Do you see that as well?
I do. Let me ask you this, like, since it's so early, do these women actually know if this guy's like a good guy or a high quality guy, if it's like between date 1 and 5? Like, should they be this excited this early?
Oh my gosh, I actually love that question. That like got me really excited for a second. Yeah, here's what I think you should do, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. I think I heard you say once, Mike, in a live stream we did together on my channel, like judge the relationship, not the man, or something like that. What I like to say is, if you can hook up your feelings of chemistry and attraction with a man's masculine action towards you, then you've really got something. That would be choosing a man based on your feminine energy rather than your masculine energy. And I know that probably sounds confusing. So can I explain that for a second?
Yeah, please do. I'm confused.
Okay, yes, I know. I'm like, even just saying that, I'm like, that's such a big concept. Okay, choosing a man with your masculine energy is kind of looking at a man on paper and deciding he's what you want, with, like you said, within the first couple dates, because maybe he looks good physically, you're attracted to him, he has a great job, he's successful, he's the way he carries himself, he's funny, whatever it is. You have these external kind of requirements, and he fits that checklist, and so your masculine energy wants to go after him. And we can, when we do that, we can ignore our feminine energy, meaning, how do you feel about yourself when you're with this man? So forget about how you feel about him and all his external qualities for a minute. How do you feel about yourself in his presence? Meaning, how relaxed are you around him? How much can you just be yourself and open up and feel his energy coming towards you? right? So that's choosing from your feminine energy, choosing a man based on how it feels to be with him, both when he's right in front of you and when he's not right in front of you. So many women say, well, when we're together, it feels so good and the chemistry is off the charts. But when he's not there, like when he disappears for a week and I don't hear from him, I feel really anxious and insecure and it doesn't feel good. Well, I'd say that's something to pay attention to. So how does it feel with this man? Does he seem to be pursuing you? Is his energy coming towards you? Can you just be yourself and feel that he accepts you and likes you, or not? And that's a really good way to start choosing these men with your feminine energy rather than this masculine energy checklist kind of way of doing things. Did that clarify it?
Yeah, that made perfect sense. And I totally agree with you. We all need your help. So let's say we've got the amazing man on paper, right? But like you said, he is causing you some anxiety because he's not texting you enough or reaching out and kind of coming after you. And let's say it's pretty early, you're on date 8 and maybe you're exclusive at this point. And maybe he doesn't know that you want to be reached out to this much because he's like got this big job. You've got your great job. And he's thinking, I don't want to bother her. So what can a woman do to kind of let him know that, so that we can boost this feeling of not feeling anxious and getting what you want from the guy? Like, what can she do?
That's a great question. Yeah, I would say before you said date 8, you're exclusive. We'll talk about that. Before you get to that point, I'd say best 4 words I could ever tell any woman out there is keep your options open, right? Don't commit yourself exclusively to one man in your mind and in your heart before you know for sure that he's committed to you and investing in you. That's my opinion. Do you agree with that? I would love to hear your thoughts on that.
Oh, 100%. If he's not investing, then yeah.
Keep your options open. Okay. Yeah, that being said, you're exclusive with a guy, you're not dating anyone else. Yeah, I think it's totally fine to say, hey, it feels so good hearing from you. It's all about making requests coming from your feminine energy, right? It feels so good hearing your voice at the end of a long day. He texts you good morning, let him know how great that feels, that puts a smile on your face for the rest of the day. And it's that positive reinforcement and appreciation and acknowledgement rather than, why didn't you text me all day, right? Why don't you call me anymore the way you used to? Coming from it in a positive way, coming from acknowledgement and appreciation, amazing. And you can always ask, like if you're exclusive with a man, in a sense, he's kind of like, if he's asked you to be exclusive, he's telling you that like he wants to be the one to meet those needs of yours, like, because you're not going to be dating other men anymore, right? So if he's a good man and he's interested in you and he cares about your feelings, he'll want to know what's going to make you happy. So absolutely, it's fine to let him know, yeah, it would feel so good to, be in touch just about every day or whatever it is that you need from him.
Yes. All right, Helena, we need to get you out of here in 2 minutes because we got some stuff to do. But last question. I think I triggered something when I said 8 dates and exclusive. So when is the right time for exclusivity to happen, in your opinion?
Oh gosh, what a great question. I'm about to release a video on my channel called 4 Questions to Ask Before Becoming Exclusive with a Man. Let me see if I can remember some of those off the top of my head. Because it could really vary. It could really vary. I always say you don't really know what a guy's gonna do until about, 3 or so months in. A lot of women jump into being exclusive with a man quickly because he's coming on strong, he wants to be exclusive, and then after a few months goes by, that dopamine and norepinephrine and serotonin, those good feeling neurotransmitters that are associated with the newness of the situation kind of wear off, and then they're exclusive with this man and he starts to back off and contact her less and less. Happens all the time, and then they're kind of stuck in this exclusivity trap. Do you see that as well? I'm just curious.
Oh, absolutely. Like I always say, and correct me if if you agree with this, but like men should be the gas pedal. So they're always pushing the envelope and trying to move things forward. And women should be the brake on the other side. So we've got that great polarity. And a man should be like trying to win his queen and want to be exclusive. But the woman should be like, well, I'm not sure if you're the right guy. And that's okay. Like I like you and things are going fantastically. But like, keep let's keep getting to know each other.
Yeah, keep qualifying him. I don't think I've ever said that before in a video, so I love that. Just came to me. Keep qualifying him. Here are some good questions to ask yourself, though. Number one, is his energy coming towards you consistently? Very important, because if he's hot and cold, if you don't like what's going on, don't glue yourself to it exclusively, because that's not going to fix things. You got to talk about it first and let him know what you would need in order to be exclusive. Like, it would feel incredible to be your girlfriend, and for me to be exclusive with someone, I'd like to see them about, 3 times a week, or be in contact every day, or whatever it is that you need for yourself. It's different for every woman. Is his energy coming towards you? Is he actually asking you to be exclusive? So important. And I know that sounds like common sense, but like I said, so many women just commit themselves to a man and close off their other options. And he's never even really brought it up. So is he asking you to be exclusive? Is his energy coming towards you? Do you feel good about yourself in his presence? That's coming from your feminine energy. We talked about that. Lastly, I would say, do you want the same things for the future? Has that been explicitly talked about? Another thing I hear from so many women is they're like, well, I have this boyfriend and we've been dating for, 8 months or a year, and I really want to get married and settle down, and I don't know if that's something he wants. So before becoming exclusive with a man, if those are really important to you, it's good to have that conversation to make sure you're on the same page. So if a man's saying, yes, I want the same things, I want them with you, and I'm ready, let's do this, then great, go ahead and give it an exclusive shot if things are feeling good. If those things aren't in place, I would say give it a little more time. Just like you said, Mike, that was brilliant. Like, oh, that would feel so good to, for it to be just the two of us together. And, for me, that's such a big decision. It would feel good to really take my time and get to know someone before, taking that big step, because I want to make sure we're on the same page. Something you can say in that situation.
Yeah, that's perfect. All right, guys. Helena Hart, you can obviously see why I brought her on for the 3rd ever live stream. I've known her for a few years now, and her advice is magnificent. You just saw. So what we're going to do is, I'm sure you guys want some more Helena. So down there in the info, I got her channel. You can go over, you can subscribe. She's got, I think, hundreds of videos. Is that right, Helena? Hundreds?
Yeah, gosh, I think almost 200 now, or something like that. Yeah, about to hit 25,000 subscribers. So it's an amazing community. So many wonderful women. I do live streams. I post videos every couple of days. So yeah, you can go check that out.
Yes, a phenomenal channel. I'm on it a little bit, and great advice from Helena. I also want to set you guys up with more Helena stuff. She put an amazing free gift down there that you guys should get your hands on. Helena, what free gift did we put down there? I don't even remember.
Oh yeah, thank you for reminding me. Yeah, that's my 3 keys to attract the man you want. It's a report, PDF report, and audio training, very in-depth, about hour-long audio training, where I go really deep into some of these subconscious drives. Like, do you put a man on a pedestal? Do you tend to fast forward to the future and go up in your head, or try to prove yourself to him? All different kinds of things we do. So it's about turning these patterns around to bring that man closer than ever. Again, even if he's pulled away, or if you're single and looking to attract the right man, this will help you so much. I get so much great feedback on that. So yeah, that's free on my website, and the link is in the description, right?
Yes, it is. Of course. All right, guys, that is it for today. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. I've got another video coming out on Tuesday and every single Tuesday, and we're going to start doing live streams hopefully about once a week-ish. I'm going to see what I can do for you guys. I love all of you. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you guys on Tuesday. And thank you, Helena.
Thank you. This was so much fun. Bye, everybody.